morning, children. This is our fourth module. We have been discussing about the working of institutions for the last 2 or 3 classes. Let us continue. Prime Minister. Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. Prime Minister is the most important political institution in the country. Yet, there is no direct election to the post of the Prime Minister. The President appoints a Prime Minister. But the President cannot appoint anyone he or she likes. The President appoints the leader of the majority party or the coalition of parties that commands a majority in the Lok Sabha as Prime Minister. In case no single party or alliance gets a majority, the President appoints the person most likely to secure a majority support. The Prime Minister does not have a fixed tenure. He continues in power so long as he remains the leader of the majority party or coalition. After the appointment of the Prime Minister, the President appoints other ministers on the advice of the Prime Minister. The ministers are usually from the party or the coalition that has the majority in the Lok Sabha. The Prime Minister is free to choose ministers so long as they are members of Parliament. Sometimes a person who is not a member of the Parliament can also become a minister. But such a person has to get elected to one of the houses of the Parliament within 6 months of appointment as minister. The Prime Minister is assisted by the Council of Ministers. Council of Ministers is the official name for the body that includes all the ministers. It usually has 60 to 80 ministers of different ranks. Let us discuss about the Council of Ministers. Cabinet Ministers. Cabinet Ministers are usually top-level leaders of the ruling party or parties who are in charge of the major ministries. Usually the Cabinet Ministers meet to take a decision in the name of the Council of Ministers. Cabinet is thus the inner ring of the Council of Ministers. It comprises about 20 ministers. Ministers of State with independent charge. They are usually in charge of smaller ministries. They participate in the cabinet meetings only when specially invited. Ministers of State. They are attached to and required to assist cabinet ministers. Since it is not practical for all ministers to meet regularly and to discuss every day, the decisions are taken in cabinet meetings. That is why parliamentary democracy in most countries is often known as the cabinet form of government. The cabinet works as a team. The ministers may have different views and opinions, but everyone has to own up to every decision of the cabinet. No minister can openly criticize any decisions of the government even if it is about another ministry or department. Every ministry has secretaries who are civil servants. The secretaries provide the necessary background information to the ministers to take decisions. The cabinet as a team is assisted by the cabinet secretariat. This includes many senior civil servants who try to coordinate the working of different ministries. Prime Minister and his powers. The Constitution does not say very much about the powers of the Prime Minister or the ministers or their relationship with each other. But as the head of the government, the Prime Minister has wide-ranging powers. He is the captain of the ship. He chairs the cabinet meeting. He is the chairman of the cabinet meeting. The Prime Minister coordinates the work of different departments. His decisions are final in case disagreements arise between departments. He exercises a general supervision of different ministries. All ministers work under his leadership. The Prime Minister distributes and redistributes the work to the ministers. He also has the power to dismiss ministers. When the Prime Minister quits, the entire ministry quits. Thus, if the cabinet is the most powerful institution in India, within the cabinet it is the Prime Minister who is the most powerful. The powers of the Prime Minister in all parliamentary democracies of the world have increased so much in recent decades that parliamentary democracies are sometimes seen as a prime ministerial form of government. As political parties have come to play a major role in politics, the Prime Minister controls the cabinet and parliament through the party. The media also contribute to this trend by making politics and elections as a competition between top leaders of parties. In India too, we have seen such a tendency towards the concentration of power in the hands of the Prime Minister. Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, exercised enormous authority because he had great influence over the public. Indira Gandhi was also a very powerful leader compared to her colleagues in the cabinet. Of course, the extent of power wielded by the Prime Minister also depends on the personality of the person holding that position. Hi children, we are going to conclude. Read textbook well and try to find answer to this question. Thank you.